All right, let's talk some more about the case with criminal defense lawyer Elliott Willschick. He's joining us now. Elliott, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Marilla.
A deadlock obviously means they just can't come to any kind of agreement. 30 hours they have been deliberating, at least to this point. How often do you see a deadlock, and does it indicate if a jury comes back and says, yeah, we're deadlocked, that will continue?
So you don't see deadlocks too often. Most jurors want to go home. And these jurors specifically are not very close to home. They're being sequestered. So you would think they'd want to get this done and get back to their lives. With regard to whether or not it's indicative of it continuing, that's difficult to say. Some juries come back, they say they're deadlocked, and then they come back eventually and sometimes even deliver a conviction. So it doesn't mean necessarily they're deadlocked and there's no hope just yet. That remains to be seen.
And obviously a hung jury would mean a mistrial, and that's usually seen as a victory for the defense.
That's certainly true, although in this case, back in 2005, they decided not to pursue charges. So it would be unusual for them to pursue them again if there is a deadlock. However, I think the publicity for this trial is making it very difficult for the state to do anything but go forward and have another trial should that happen.
So they have, I would understand, a certain number of months where they can decide if they want to go for a round 2 trial.
Yes, they can certainly take a bit of time to decide, but in this case, given all the publicity, they'll go forward. The difficulty for the state will be that this witness has already testified once, and if she has any further deviations in the future, they'll have this record to compare it to. So it creates a lot of problems for the state as well going forward.
Obviously, we don't know what's going on inside the deliberation room, but we know the details of the case, and we've seen sort of what the testimony has been like in the course of the trial. What do you imagine that they could be stuck on?
They're probably reviewing the witness's account as well as what Bill Cosby said in his depositions and trying to look at the inconsistencies and reconcile whether or not there's any credence to her story, and then comparing what he said as well. So it looks like they're actually paying attention to the evidence and working very hard to come to a conclusion.
Do you think it was unusual that Bill Cosby did not testify in his own defense and let that old sort of testimony be read in, the interviews he had with police years ago?
Not unusual, because at this point, he already knew that they're going to hear what he said many years ago. Given his age as well and his health, one would wonder how up to testifying he might actually be. So it's probably better that he didn't, because they also could have asked other questions about what's going on with his other cases and just in general. He probably wouldn't have done very well on the stand.
All right. Elliott Willschick joining us today. Elliott, thanks for that.
Thank you very much, Marilla.